there was a big study done in the 2020 election with how people in different denominations voted and how many voted for Donald Trump in particular. So the sample size was 61,000. I believe that's what it says right there, 61K thousand. And then you have the different denominations, and I'll zoom in on this for you. And you see the ones that voted. In a lot of these, you won't be surprised by. Assemblies of God, not surprising that they voted in favor of Trump. Same with non-denominational fundamentalists, non-denominational evangelical, independent Baptist, Southern Baptist Convention. These things are not surprising. On the bottom end, I did kind of get surprised. Like African Methodist Episcopal Church, I'm not surprised. There is a long-standing association between the Democratic Party and African Americans. That's kind of breaking up right now. I kind of don't think it's going to be this low this time. We'll see. National Baptist Convention, nobody knows about them. Church of God in Christ, I was kind of surprised about that. Baptist Missionary Association, Episcopal Church, nobody is surprised. Actually, the kind of scandalous thing is that 32% did vote for Donald Trump. Disciples of Christ, same thing. They're much less progressive than you would think. United Church of Christ, if y'all haven't seen my interview with Irene Willis, she represented them and that tradition, and she's a conservative. This is the one that surprised me, though. Seventh-day Adventist. I had no idea they were so liberal. What is that? Well, it's so liberal. 42% still voted for Donald Trump. But to imagine, I don't know. There's such like biblical literalists in some ways. I was really surprised by that. The reason I'm bringing this up, though, you have the United Methodist Church. 61% of United Methodists voted in favor of Donald Trump. Now, some people would say, man, that proves, excuse me, I say that proves that the United Methodist Church is more conservative than you would think. And it kind of does. But the thing is that Donald Trump is not particularly conservative. Like, there are many much more conservative people than him. He's conservative on some issues and liberal on some and libertarian on some. The thing that signals is, yes, the denomination at the grassroots is much more conservative than people at the top. But also it signals that people at the grassroots are very skeptical of institutional authority and power. So what we saw in the microcosm of the United Methodist Church is that elite left-leaning entities gained control of the gears of power and made the whole body go in a direction they didn't want to go. And you saw that at the General Conference. You saw that in the general boards and agencies. That's pretty much undeniable. News did a survey in 2019 showing that the majority of the denomination was conservative or moderate, not at all sympathetic with progressivism. And we knew that, and now through the voting, what we see is, Donald Trump is not a vote for conservative. Donald Trump is more a vote against the established order. He declared war against the swamp. And so people who feel like they're in a swampy mess are generally voting for him. On Twitter, y'all know I'm a big fan of, what's her name? I can never think of her name. But she compares Donald Trump to Godzilla. Like, yes, he's a monster. Yes, he destroys things. He'll destroy whoever gets in his way. He's not discerning. But even so, he's who you bring in whenever you've got another behemoth that's got to get taken care of. And so a vote for Donald Trump is, for many people, a vote against the current established order. So what you find, I think, according to this study here, is that a lot of people within the United Methodist Church are actually not okay with institutionalism. They think that they've been co-opted, and they're aware that they've been done wrong. And so it's really interesting to live in this era where such good data is taken. The sample size is so big in this that it's almost impossible to believe that this was some kind of one-off. What I think is happening is the people in authority in our country are trying to hide that the populist sentiment is generally wise to the notion that they're being manipulated. And when that's revealed in the data and you see that people are rejecting what they've been given, then that's something that should bring fear to a lot of people because that heralds a great deal of instability in the near future. But it also um, indicates that our consciences are not so seared that we're living in the brave new world where everybody's just over medicated and indifferent and miserable. There does seem to be something keeping all this in check. That's not to say, don't hear me saying that I think. Um, Oh, I definitely wouldn't say anything like Donald Trump is the new Messiah or he's a Christian or you have to vote for him if you want to save America. I don't believe any of that stuff. I believe that regardless of who we put in, well, Psalm 146, do not put your trust in princes and men in whom there is no hope, you know. So that's pretty much where I am. It's not absolute indifference. You know, I do think one candidate is better than the other, and y'all know I'm kind of a single issue voter. How you treat the unborn is really the most important thing to me and to my mind, where our consciences are revealed. But even so, I don't want to be put in some kind of caricature. I just think we have to have discernment at this time and place in history, and these are things to keep in mind. What kind of country are we dealing with? How are they responding to the current environment? These are things that we need to wisely deal with if we're going to make good decisions. And within the United Methodist Church, how many of the 61% do you think got free? How many do you think actually disaffiliated? I don't think even half of them did. I think the majority of them were in small, poor churches that couldn't afford to leave. So I think there's a good chance that the majority, well, and I think after this last round of disaffiliations and stuff, a much bigger percentage of people in the United Methodist Church grew much more tired of institutional elite bureaucracy. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's still 61%. I'll be interested, man, I'm really interested actually in exit polling. How many United Methodists are going to vote for Donald Trump? I bet it's going to be a lot bigger than anybody counts on.